21st Sunday in Ordinary Time. Year C theme. Strive to enter by the narrow door. Have you ever noticed the doors we encounter in our daily lives? There are the grand, welcoming doors of a beautiful cathedral or a stately public building, wide open, inviting everyone in. Then there are the automatic sliding doors of a supermarket, which part effortlessly as we approach, requiring nothing from us. They are wide, easy, and convenient. They represent a path of no resistance. Then there is the door Jesus speaks of in today's gospel. It is not grand, not automatic, not effortless. It is a narrow door. As Jesus is traveling and teaching someone in the crowd, asks him a question that has likely crossed our own minds in moments of quiet reflection or anxious worry. Lord, will only a few people be saved? It's a question about numbers, about statistics. We want to know the odds. Are we on the right side of the curve? Will our loved ones make it? Will we make it? But notice how Jesus answers. He doesn't give a number. He doesn't satisfy their curiosity about statistics. He turns the question from a speculative, how many, into a deeply personal and urgent command. Strive to enter through the narrow door. He shifts the focus from the fate of the crowd to the state of the individual soul. He tells us that our salvation is not a spectator sport. It is a personal striving. The Greek word for strive is agonesis, from which we get our word agonize. It's the word used for an athlete competing in the games, straining every muscle, focusing every ounce of their being on the finish line. It implies a conscious, deliberate, and sustained effort. This is not a casual stroll through the wide, automatic doors of indifference. This is an intentional journey that requires our full participation. So, what makes the door narrow? Is it because God is stingy with his mercy? Is he an exclusive club owner trying to keep people out? Absolutely not. The door is not narrow because God's love is small, but because the path of true discipleship requires focus. It is narrow because we cannot carry the baggage of the world through it, our pride, our unchecked ambitions, our resentments, our materialism, To enter, we must travel light. The striving is the process of shedding that baggage. This is where our second reading, from the letter to the Hebrews, gives us profound insight. What does this striving, this spiritual agony look like in our lives? The author of Hebrews gives it a name, discipline. Now, discipline is a word we often don't like. It sounds harsh, like punishment or deprivation. But the reading reframes it entirely. It says, whom the Lord loves, he disciplines. This discipline is not the act of an angry judge, but the loving training of a father. It is the work of a divine coach who sees our potential and pushes us beyond our comfort zone so that we can become stronger, healthier, and more resilient. The reading acknowledges that this process is painful. At the time, all discipline seems a cause not for joy, but for pain. Of course it is. It is painful to confront our own selfishness. It is difficult to choose forgiveness when we feel wronged. It is a struggle to remain faithful in prayer when our minds are distracted and our hearts are dry. It is hard to get up when we have fallen, but the author promises this painful training later brings the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who are trained by it. This is the essence of striving. It is enduring the loving discipline of God, knowing that it is for our own good. It is allowing him to prune what is overgrown in our lives, to heal what is broken, and to strengthen what is weak. The passage concludes with a beautiful and practical command. Strengthen your drooping hands and your weak knees. Make straight paths for your feet, that what is lame may not be disjointed but healed. We are called not only to accept this discipline for ourselves, but to support one another in it, to be a source of strength for our brothers and sisters who are also on this challenging path. Now, we might hear all this the narrow door, the striving, the discipline, and begin to feel a sense of anxiety or, worse, a sense of spiritual pride. We might think, well, I am striving, I am disciplined, I am one of the few who will make it in. Unlike those people, This is precisely where our first reading from the prophet Isaiah shatters any sense of exclusivity while the gospel speaks of a narrow door, Isaiah speaks of a universal invitation. God declares, "I am coming to gather all nations and tongues, and they shall come and see my glory." Who is God gathering? He lists them. People from Tarshish, Put, Lud, Tubal, and Javan distant, and foreign lands. The outsiders, the ones who were considered far from God. He is gathering people from the distant coastlands that have never heard of my fame or seen my glory. This is the great surprise of the kingdom of God, which Jesus echoes in the gospel. People will come from the east and the west and from the north and the south and will recline at table in the kingdom of God. The door is narrow in terms of the commitment it requires, but it is infinitely wide in its invitation. It is open to every person, from every nation, from every walk of life. Our place in the kingdom is not guaranteed by our heritage, our status, or by simply saying, "Lord, Lord." It is secured by our response to his invitation, a response that involves the daily striving and the acceptance of his loving discipline. This is why Jesus gives that startling warning. "For behold, some are last who will be first, and some are first who will be last." Those who are complacent, who believe they have a guaranteed ticket because they are on the inside, may find the door shut. And those who seem farthest away, the ones we might write off, are the very ones God is actively gathering to himself. Isaiah's prophecy is so radical that it even says God will take some of these foreigners and make them priests and Levites. The ultimate outsiders will become the ultimate insiders! My dear brothers and sisters, the message of the readings today is both a challenge and a profound comfort. The challenge is to take our faith seriously. We cannot be passive consumers of God's grace. We are called to be active participants, to strive to engage in the loving discipline of a Father who wants to shape us into the saints he created us to be. The comfort is knowing that this narrow door is open to all, and that the effort is not to earn God's love, but to respond to it. The striving is not a grim, lonely task. We do it together, strengthening one another's weak knees. And we do it with the constant help of God's grace. So this week, let us ask ourselves, where is the narrow door in my life? Is it the door of forgiveness I have been avoiding? The door of prayer I have been too busy to open? The door of charity that asks me to give of my time or resources when it is inconvenient? Let us not be afraid of the effort it requires. For the one who waits for us on the other side is not a stern gatekeeper, but our loving Father who has prepared a great feast for all nations and who longs for nothing more than for us to come home.